Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Susan's Just Making It. I'm Susan and I'm here making stuff, messes, chaos, and making it through life. If you've been here before, welcome back. If this is your first time watching my videos, I'm glad you decided to do so and welcome. Hope everyone's having a really great day, and I'm doing something a little bit different today for this video. So if you like today's video, don't forget the thumbs up right down here. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I really would like it if you would consider doing so. That's that little red subscribe button down there. And if you hit that red subscribe button, you might as well hit the notification bell, and then you'll know every time I upload a new video. So for today's video, I wanted to do this for a while, and I just haven't gotten around to it. But today's video is going to be about owning yourself. And a lot of you may wonder what that means, and I'm going to tell you. But before I get started, I did want to point out, I'm sure most of you are aware, but for those of you that are not aware, that May, in addition to being Military Appreciation Month and Mother's Day being in May, May is also Mental Health Awareness Month, and that's a cause that's very dear to my heart, and I believe that we need to recognize and try to understand a little bit more. It's all about knowledge and understanding, in my opinion. And with that being said, I do want to share the shirt that I'm wearing today. I have a few of them, but this is the one I just happen to be wearing today. And it has an anchor on it, and it says, "Hope anchors the soul," Hebrews 6:19. And it's got the green ribbon. So it's one of my mental health awareness t-shirts. And I purchased this from Amazon a while ago, I think last summer. I'm going to link this t-shirt as well as I have another one with an elephant and then a sunflower with the green petals. That's also mental health awareness. I'm going to put a link to both of those down in the description box on Amazon. They are both still available, I noticed recently. And I might also throw in a link to like a couple other ones that I really I like, and maybe some of you out there would as well. So I just wear this not just in May, but throughout the year, just to bring mental health awareness out there a little bit. I do want to mention that it will be an affiliate link. If you do decide to purchase one of the t-shirts, it's not going to cost you anything extra, and I think I get a very small commission. So I'm just going to throw that out there for transparency, but that's not really why I'm linking them. I just I like wearing them, and like I said, it's a cause that's, you know, close to my heart, and if we can spread awareness, I think that that will really do a lot. We need to end the stigma. That's a lot of the issues. You know, people don't hesitate to seek treatment for other physical and health conditions. Mental health is just as important, and a lot of people don't do so because of the stigma. So it's, you know, we need to make a little bit of progress there, in my opinion. But that's not what today's video is about. That's just something I wanted to throw out there before I got started. So today's video is about owning yourself. And like I said, a lot of you may be asking yourself, what exactly does that mean? Well, we're going to get into that. I'm going to start with the more negative, and it's not really even negative, but we'll just get the not as happy part out of the way first, and then we'll move on to the very positive part of owning yourself. So when I say owning yourself, I am talking about basically taking responsibility for yourself. Okay? We're all accountable for our own actions and our own choices and the person that we are, good or bad. Okay? Now, I think part of owning yourself is realizing that you're not perfect. No one's perfect. You know, as much as some people may like to think they are, no one is perfect. And that's fine. That's what makes us human. We are imperfect beings. That's part of being human. Okay? So, with that being said, one thing that comes into play with owning yourself is the ability to take constructive criticism. Okay, I know it's very difficult for people, myself included, to take constructive criticism because our first reaction is to get defensive. Okay, and that's where the constructive part comes in. Okay, some people, it's not constructive criticism. Some people are just nasty and they just seem to never have anything nice to say. And when that's the case, sometimes you have to acknowledge that it has nothing to do with you and to try not to take it personal. I know that's not very easy, but some people are just like that. That is not a reflection of you. That is a reflection of them. Apparently there's something lacking in their life or something they're dealing with, and that's how they choose to deal with it. So with that being said, you pretty much know when it's somebody just being nasty, okay? And my advice with that is just try not to take it personal if you know it's not personal. Now, to the constructive criticism part, like I said, we have to look at the constructive part of it and not take it personal. We have to ask ourselves, is there something that I should be taking a look at? You know, is this person trying to help me become a better person or make me aware of something? And instead of getting defensive, maybe we need to take a look at what's being said. So like I said, if somebody is offering constructive criticism, try to step back a little bit and get some type of a lesson out of it, a message. Don't just look at the negative part of that somebody's criticizing. Most of the time, true constructive criticism, somebody is trying to teach you something, show you a better way, point something out. So don't necessarily take it as a negative. And like I said, it's part of owning yourself, being mature enough to say, this is constructive criticism. Okay? Another thing is, this is something I struggled with a lot with my kids growing up, is we all make mistakes. The thing about that is, where owning yourself comes into that is acknowledging your mistake and taking responsibility for it. And if you're in the wrong, apologizing and making amends if that's something that needs to be done. And when my kids were growing up, I had this big thing about, I would walk into a situation and I would ask, you know, who's responsible for this? Who did this? And of course, you know what I heard all the time? Nobody, I don't know. And the blame game. Not this one, that one, that one, this one, that one. I said, you know, somebody did it. I am not upset at this point. Just whoever did it, own up to it. What makes me upset is that no one's willing to take accountability for it. I will be much more forgiving and understanding if you just said, I made a mistake, I'm the one that did this. Okay, let's clean up the mess, or let's fix the problem or whatever and move on. But when all this denial comes in, it just escalates whatever the issue is. So mistakes are just part of us being human. We all make them, okay? It's about being accountable for the mistakes you make, admitting to them, and like I said, if you've hurt somebody in some way, be the bigger person and apologize. You know, I think people that are willing to admit they're wrong and apologize are really showing some personal growth there, because a lot of people these days have a hard time admitting they're wrong and apologizing. And if amends are needed, be willing to make those amends. Like I've told people before, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, and I acknowledge that, but I also bear the cross of my mistakes. I've made poor choices along the way, and they have made my life more difficult, but I've taken responsibility for those mistakes, and I've done what needed to be done. I did not pass that along to somebody else to clean up, or whatever the case may be. So first of all, you need to be willing to take constructive criticism. Second of all, if you make a mistake, just admit to it and do what needs to be done to rectify that. And there's a saying that I want to share with you guys that I read, and it really like hit home with me. And it said, mistakes are perfection in progress, or something to that effect. And that's the thing. I feel like there's no harm in making a mistake as long as you're learning something from it in the long run. That's how we learn a lot of life lessons, is by the mistakes we make. If you never make mistakes and have a quote-unquote smooth life, you're not really learning a lot of life lessons. It's just my opinion. And like I've said in all these videos, I'm just sharing my personal opinions and things that from my personal experience. So, with that being said, like I said, mistakes are, perfection in progress, or however you want to look at it. And with that being said, a lot of people that struggle with their self-esteem or self-worth, sometimes they feel like they're just not good at this, that, or the other. They don't have this particular talent, this particular skill, this particular ability. Well, first of all, that's not meant to be. Not everybody is meant to be good at everything. That's what makes us different. That's what makes us unique. That's, it's just not really possible to be good at everything. So just because you're not perfect at something doesn't necessarily mean you're not good at it either. And that's something that's subjective too. Don't compare yourself to someone else all the time. I'm very guilty of that. I'm a crafter, and I do struggle with some self-esteem issues. So sometimes I will make a project, and I catch myself almost every single time comparing it to someone else that's probably been doing it a lot longer than I have. And I'm like, people will say it's nice, but I have a hard time taking that compliment, because I'll automatically say, well, it's not as good as so-and-so's, or it's not as good as what I saw here or there or the other. But at the same time, then I'll look and I'll see someone else that has done a similar project, and maybe they haven't been doing it as long as I have, or they don't have the same skill, or maybe they're struggling with like a mental or physical handicap or something like that. So this is all subjective, you know what I mean? It's like not everybody's good at everything, you know what I mean? But that doesn't mean what you're doing isn't good enough or doesn't have value. Don't compare yourself to everyone else, because more than likely you're not as good as this person, but you're better than this one. And as long as you're happy with what you're doing or the results you've gotten, that is good enough. Okay? And another thing with that is, okay, so you may not be musically talented, you may not be artistic, you might not be crafty, you might not have, you might not be a builder or a maker, or you might not be good at sports, or you might not be good at, and the list goes on. Okay? And that's where we need to get out of comparing ourselves to other people. We are not other people, we are ourselves. You may not be good at a talent or skill. Some of these people that don't seem to feel like they're good at anything, that's never the case. Everyone is good at something. Maybe you just need to dig a little bit deeper. Maybe there are things that aren't as easy to see. It might be somebody that doesn't have a particular talent or skill, but they're a great listener, they're compassionate, they're always the one that's willing to help. Maybe they have life lessons or experiences to share, stuff like that. So sometimes when we think about a skill or ability, things are an ability or a strength that we don't normally think of. So before you go labeling yourself that you don't have something special about yourself, just think a little bit harder. You will find something. Everybody has value and strengths and abilities. It just may not be what we normally think of when we say that. So, and like I touched on earlier, about comparing ourselves to other people. That's, so many people do that. And I think social media is one of the biggest things that magnifies that. It's not about comparing yourself to someone else. You are not someone else. Okay? And when you catch yourself doing that, and I have to do this myself, is remind yourself, that person that has such musical talent or such a sports ability. Now, granted, there are some people that are born with a talent. I'm excluding those people. I'm talking about the average people. This person that has athletic abilities, this person that has music abilities, this person that can look at a picture and build something just from a picture, the person that can sit down and paint the most gorgeous painting or do the most amazing drawing. The mechanic that has just amazing skills that can look under your hood and knows what's wrong like that and fix it in no time. Remind yourself, and every expert was once a beginner. And you have to be gentle with yourself when you're reminding yourself of that. There are exceptions, of course, but most people that are good at something did not start out good at something. They started doing the crawling in baby steps too. You know, people will talk about craft projects and, you know, how nice they are. Well, if you could see some of them when I first started, believe me, it's been progress. So before you automatically doubt yourself that you're not good at something, everyone's got to start somewhere. Maybe you're just not there yet. But quitting or giving up because you're not as good as you want to be, you never will get that good. It's all about persistence and perseverance. Keep trying. The more you practice, the more you try, the better you're going to get at whatever you're trying to do. So, I'm just trying to look at something real quick. Yeah, so another thing, we're going to start moving into the more positive because I don't want to get into the negative. And not that I even meant for that to be negative. I'm just pointing out that a lot of times, like I said, owning yourself, acknowledge that you have weaknesses. But that's not what it's all about, okay? If something bothers you that you have a weakness, work on it, whatever that means. If it's a skill you want to hone, keep practicing, keep working on it. If it is a behavior that you're not fond of, that you're finding in yourself, then take a look at it and work on it. You know, where something is today is not the end all. There's always progress to be made, an improvement to be made. So if you don't like something that you're lacking in, do what needs to be done to improve that, whatever it may be. Now, with that being said, there are some things that you're probably never going to be good at. That's part of us being human again. I will acknowledge, I may be crafty, but I have no artistic talent, okay? My grandson, who's 6 years old, probably draws better stick figures than I do. And you know what? I have accepted that I don't have artistic talent. I probably never will. And that's okay, because I'm good at other things. So don't focus on the things you're not good at, because you're not going to be good at everything, and maybe that's just not your thing. So with that being said, if that's not your thing, go find what is your thing. You know, sometimes you may say, oh, well, I don't know what my thing is. I don't seem to be good at anything. Keep trying different things till you find what is. Okay? And with that being said, I feel like part of us having a strength, if we have a talent or a skill or an ability or a strength, I think us as human beings, it's almost our responsibility to share that. What good does it do to have a skill or an ability or knowledge if you don't share it? What good does it do keeping it to yourself? I mean, some people, especially in this day and age, the way society is going, some people are afraid to share something with someone else because I guess they feel like if they keep it to themselves, they have some type of an advantage. And I think as society, we need to stop doing that. Because if you stop and think about it, so much of the knowledge that we have now is based on knowledge of those that came before us. We're not reinventing the wheel. You know, we're not reinventing these things that we take for granted every day. So like, with that being said, I think it's our responsibility to share what we have to give. If you know how to bake and someone else doesn't, take the time to maybe help them learn, you know, some tips and tricks, or take the time to show them, or just spend the time, you know, a little bit here and there doing it with them until they, you know, catch on to a few things and become better at it themselves. If you are, you know, crafty or artistic, you know, someone else may have an interest in it, so take the time to show them what you know and things like that. I had an idea a while ago, but then COVID came about, and now that things are kind of evening out a little bit, I may revisit it. But I like doing my crafts, and a lot of people have mentioned about it, and I had the idea once to start like a little class for children, like within a certain age group, where I would pre-make kits, and then like a certain day, evening a week, the kids would come sit down at a table and work on a project. And the reason I came up with that idea is I believe with kids being sponges and them being our future, I would be passing something along to the next generation. And I heard a saying once too, that we were all born artists, but as we grow, some of us forget that. And I think one of the biggest mistakes we can make, and I'm guilty of it myself raising children, is to not recognize and encourage things that children do when they're young. Okay, so I think sometimes we have too high of expectations on children. I think if your child has any creativity whatsoever, artistic, music, sports, there's something they're really passionate about, and they show an, even if they're not necessarily good at it, if they have an interest in it, encourage it. Do not throw the negatives in there. Be supportive. Put it out there. Because that's the thing. With us being born artists and then we forget, that's exactly what a lot of it's about. When we're young, we have an interest or a talent, but it's not fed and it's not encouraged. So people give up or think they're not good enough. And it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy that so many people, I think, deep within them have abilities and talents, but because it wasn't fed, they've given up on that. I think it's always down deep, but a lot of people have gotten to the point where they don't believe in that anymore. And like I said, it's really tragic. And once we get to a certain stage where we're caught up in adult responsibilities and day-to-days, and we've just lost that part of ourselves, it's so hard to bring that back out. So I feel like young people, that's our future. Let's groom that, you know. Let's encourage them not to give up on the things that they're passionate about, or that they're good at, or that they want to try. Maybe they're not good at it, or have a talent, but they want to try it. Let's encourage these young people to try different things, you know. I just feel so sad about people that have a passion and they've given up for whatever reason, or they doubt themselves. It's really sad to me. So, with that being said, like I said, you know, if you have a talent or an ability or anything like that, you know, feed that. Not just the kids, feed that yourself. Now that I'm an empty nester, and I'm recently, not super recently, but recently out of a long-term relationship, and my kids being grown and gone, and that relationship having come to an end, sometimes I struggle with what's my role now. I was raising a family and working, and I was in a domestic partnership role and stuff. And now that a lot of that's gone, I catch myself a lot trying to figure out where I'm at in life. And when people ask me, like, what do you do with your time, or things like that, I'm like, I'm rediscovering myself. I think for so long I had so many responsibilities. Now I'm trying to find my new place, find my new role. I'm not in the mother or the domestic partner role anymore. I'm trying to figure out who Susan is, you know, because for so many years I was so busy doing, cooking, cleaning, raising kids, having pets, doing the shopping, things like that. Like even the crafting thing. When my kids were young, I could not do any of this. I did not have the time and space. Now I'm really loving that I have the time and the space to do that. So now a lot of what I'm doing is trying to rediscover who I am, because even simple things like music, I just listen to whatever happened to be on the radio. I find myself asking myself a lot, what do I like? Not what I've just had to do because it fit into the scheme of things. What do I like, and who am I? You know, and I think people of all ages, every so often you need to sit down and do that. Like, take a little inventory of yourself. I think once we start getting put in all these roles, like our career, our family roles, expectations that are made on us from society, our family, our peers, whatever, sometimes we lose a sense of who we are. So I think sometimes we just need to sit down and kind of think about that. Maybe like even get a piece of paper and brainstorm, like, what things do I really like? What do I really like doing? I think when we get so caught up in life, and sometimes we don't even know what we like to do, because it's like we don't even have the time to do what we like to do. People will ask me that sometimes, and I'm like a deer in headlights. I'm like, I don't know, because for so many years I did not have time to do any of these things. So now that my life is pretty much my own, my time is pretty much my own, I'm kind of stuck with, what do I like to do? Who am I? How do I identify? You know, not gender wise or anything like that, but who am I? Like I've mentioned in other videos, you know, we've lived in this town for so long. My kids have grown up here. Oh, you're Zach and Josh's mom. Yes, but I'm Susan. I am not just a mom. I'm a person, and I've struggled with this with my own kids since they've become adults in their later teenage years. I am not just your mom. I am a person with my own opinions, my own likes and dislikes, my own interests, stuff like that. I'm not just mom. Now that they're adults, they're like coming around to that a little bit, and I understand that. To them, I am just mom. But now that they're adults too, they're kind of understanding that a little bit. You know, we're not just the labels and the roles. We are our own person, and we need to explore that. We need to own that. Going back into owning yourself. And like I said, if you catch yourself so caught up that you don't know who you are, every so often, once a month, once every 6 weeks, once every couple weeks, sit down and take the time to think about that. And when you start coming to epiphanies about that, explore it, enjoy it. If at one stage in your life, say you really enjoyed, I don't know, say you did enjoy painting at one time. Like when you were young, you would grab canvases and paints, and you would sit down and paint, and you really enjoyed it. But then you became a mother or a father or whatever, and then you were working full time, and then you had a responsibility of maybe another family member, and then you had social responsibilities, like maybe a member of some type of committee or something, and you caught yourself just so caught up with everything, and you just kind of let that go to the side because you didn't have time and you lost interest in it, whatever. If that's the case, something like that existed, try it again. Go buy a canvas, go buy some paint, sit down. Maybe you're not as good as the last time you did it, but you enjoy doing it, so sit down and start doing that again. Eventually you'll probably get as good as you were before. But so many people get so caught up in life, and society has become so hectic, we are forgetting who we are. We're just functioning and just plugging along. You know, it's sometimes I think about it's almost like we're not individuals anymore. We just fit into a little spot in society and things like that. It's I don't know, sometimes I think about how complicated society has become, and so many people are losing their individuality because they just get stuck in a spot. You know, you're not living, you're surviving. You're getting up, you're going to the same job every day, you're coming home and you're fixing dinner, and on the weekends you're doing laundry and housework, and you're just losing a sense of who you are. And I do understand that that is the way life is. You have to work, you have responsibilities. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, in your free time, start remembering who you are and what you like. You know, stop just... I think some people even think that they're not worth taking that time, or they're not important enough to take that time, or to explore the interest or things like that. We really need to stop doing that to ourselves. It's getting better where people are taking self-care more seriously, but not just about having a spa day. You know, if it's something you once enjoyed doing, maybe put the spa day aside and do that. If you enjoyed camping and you haven't been camping in 15 years, be the crazy parent that goes, we're going camping this weekend. Of course, your kids are going to probably think you're nuts if you've never taken them camping before, but start revisiting things that you were once interested in, because I believe that's still part of who you are, and those desires and interests still inside, even if you haven't done them in a long time. So, and then like I just said about the spa days, take time for yourself. Life is hectic. I'll give you that. Life is hectic. We have so many responsibilities. We have so many places we have to be, schedules to keep. Take time for yourself. Okay? You're making time to get the kids to the soccer game. You're taking time to make sure that meal's on the table every day. I know it needs to be done. You're taking time to run an errand for your neighbor. You're taking time to go visit an elderly person or somebody in the hospital. And these are all important things. And I'm glad that people do the things that need to be done or extend themselves for other people. But always remember, you're just as important as all these people you're doing these things for. Take time for yourself. If you're overwhelmed and overworked and tired, take that spa day. On a Sunday afternoon, if all of your responsibilities are taken care of, tell your kids, your husband, your boyfriend, whatever, that they're going to have to fend for themselves a couple hours, and go paint your nails, take your bath, fix your hair, put the face mask on, do a pedicure, whatever. If you like to read, tell everybody, leave me alone from 5 to 8 o'clock. I'm going in my room and I'm going to read. If you haven't had time to watch those 2 or 3 movies that you've been wanting to watch, tell everybody to fend for themselves for a few minutes and go watch one of those movies. Sometimes if you're just overwhelmed and need a break, this is a wonderful thing with me. I go for a walk. I'm getting out of the situation that's bothering me right that minute. I'm getting fresh air. I'm getting exercise. And it's been proven that, you know, the taking a walk, the exercise and fresh air will really help you mentally. And I 100% believe that. Okay? So you're getting out of the situation. You're getting fresh air. You're getting exercise. With me, I will either put earbuds in and just listen to music and just zone out and just walk and be in my own space. Or it's a nice chance to clear your mind. If something was going on that you needed to get away from, it's a chance for you to take a deep breath, be by yourself, and just think and regroup. Or even like take the time to enjoy something on your walk. Maybe you'll see something that like touches you or speaks to you. I mentioned in one of the videos I was just taking a walk and I saw mother duck and ducklings, and just little things. Sometimes you have to take the time to appreciate little things. Or maybe you might see a child learning how to ride a bike, or an older person, you know, walking their dog, and you know, you can tell if they really enjoy it, like maybe they're talking to their dog, or just some little something. Instead of just keep walking and not think anything of it, take the time to appreciate something that's there to appreciate. And that's just an example. Like I said, if there's an interest that you've had that you haven't been able to do for years, once in a while tell people, you know, going back to the example of painting, which this is definitely not me because I cannot paint. I am not artistic. But just as an example, maybe if that's something you enjoyed doing when you were a teenager in college and you haven't been able to do in years because family responsibilities and work responsibilities, do one of the classes where they have the wine and painting or something like that. If you've been interested in doing, say, woodworking, and everyone's like scoffing because they can never picture you doing that, go sign up for a class once a week and go do that. You know, take time for yourself. That's another part of owning yourself. Not just taking responsibility for your choices and actions and mistakes, but rediscover who you are. Take time for yourself. Revisit interests that you once had. Not only revisit interests, if there's something you've been interested in trying and have not had the courage, encouragement, money, time, whatever, no time like the present. Take a class. Find somebody that's good at something that's willing to teach you and take the time. explore doing something on your own. There's the internet, there's books. You know, don't underestimate yourself and say, oh, I could never do that. You don't know if you didn't try. You may be telling yourself, I can't do that, I don't know how, I don't have the talent, I don't know the first place to start. Well, you're never going to be good at it or know if you can do it if you don't at least try. Just throwing it out there, you know. So, like I said, you know, take that time for yourself. Even if it's to go to the gym, even if it's to go to the park and take a walk. If you're scheduling time for everybody else, you're somebody too. Take some time for yourself. Okay? Another thing is about being selfish with your time. I'm not saying all of your time. I'm saying some of your time. This is the thing with me, being selfish with my time. I worked, I raised a family, I did all the household responsibilities. I had other things going on. Sometimes I would work 2 jobs, sometimes I would work a job, and then I had like a side hustle. If somebody needed help, I would always stop whatever I was doing to help them, whether I wanted to or not, whether I had the time or not. Busy, busy, busy. Yeah, so everyone always they say, you're always busy, you're always coming from or going to, you're always doing this, you're always doing that. Do you sit down? Some people ask me, do you sleep? Now that I'm able to, and I will admit, I wasn't able to for a certain amount of years because of all these things. But now that I have the time, I'm selfish with my time. And I have a lot of people that'll want me to do something for them, and I'll say no, I don't want to, or I can't, or whatever. And there's a particular example which I don't want to get into, but I don't know why she can't do that. It's not like she does anything anyway. Maybe not, but that's my prerogative and that's my right. I raised my family, I worked, I did all these things for so many years. If I want to sit in this house and look at the blank wall all day, I've earned that, and that's my right. Just because I'm not doing anything does not mean I'm available to do something that I don't want to do. And I know that may sound really harsh and really terrible, but stop taking on obligations that aren't necessarily yours. Be selfish with your time, if you can. I understand some people you just can't because you just have too many responsibilities. But if you're able to, don't feel like you have to do everything. Don't be afraid to say no. Okay? You know, and just because one person thinks, oh, I don't know why they can't do this, it's not like they're doing anything else. They don't know that. And you don't have to explain yourself either. You know, be selfish with your time. Keep some time for yourself. Don't be afraid to say no. Don't be afraid to turn down an obligation once in a while. Obviously, if it's something really important, like a training for work or something like that, or obviously an event at your child's school or something, I'm not saying important stuff like that, but if it's just like a social thing and you really don't want to go, but you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, maybe you might have to take a chance of hurting feelings. And if that person is mature and you tell them, you know, I just would rather have some time to myself, they should be mature enough to understand. I know that it's not an ideal world, but sometimes it's worth taking that chance. You know, be selfish with your time. It's your time. Money, you spend money. You can always get more money. Okay? Time is something you can never get back. Take some of that time for yourself. Okay? Another thing I wanted to touch on is standing up for yourself. Okay? With that being said, there's definitely a difference between being assertive and being aggressive. Sometimes it's a fine line, but I don't feel that there's anything wrong with standing up for yourself. And if you're able to stand up for someone else that's not able to stand up for themselves, that's even better yet. But don't allow yourself to be taken advantage of. Don't allow yourself to be a doormat. Don't be afraid to speak your mind and things like that. Now, I'm not saying go around and offend other people all the time and go to the other extreme. But if you don't advocate for yourself, who's going to? Okay? A lot of people, myself included, will complain about the way they're treated by other people. Okay? This person takes advantage. This person wants too much. I don't really want to do that, but I'll do it anyway. Stop blaming the other person and start blaming yourself because you keep doing it. Okay? And like I said, I'm not talking about important stuff. I'm talking about some of the small stuff that's not a catastrophe if you turn it down or don't do it. But stop blaming other people for the way they're treating you, because at the end of the day, you're allowing it. You're allowing it. Stand up for yourself. Advocate for yourself. You know, and if there's something you're struggling with, instead of like making the situation worse because you won't say anything, why are you doing that? Tell somebody, I can't do such and such because I'm just not feeling well today. I'm just not feeling myself today. Or I have another obligation. Like I said, there's so many responsibilities in our day-to-day life. Don't be a doormat and advocate for yourself. At the end of the day, you're yours before you're anybody else's. You know, I think too many people are so busy doing for everyone else and being there for everyone else that they're not there for themselves. You know, it's like using a mother for an example. You make sure your kids get to the dentist. You make sure your kids go to their checkups and get their immunizations and have their new clothes for school and their sports equipment and their school supplies. And if they are interested in something, you try to make sure they have what they need. Just as important as they are. Why are you not going to your doctor's appointments? Why are you not making your regular dentist visits? Why aren't you buying yourself a new outfit? You know, advocate for yourself and recognize that you're important too. And I know this is getting long, so I'm going to wrap this up. There was a few other things I did want to touch on quickly, though. About, I'm just trying to look real quick. I did leave something out that I want to revisit because I don't want to leave it out. And it actually has to do with a conversation, and then I want to go back to finishing what I was just talking about. So my ADHD scatteredness is kicking in here now, but I don't want to forget to mention this. I was having a conversation with somebody either today or yesterday, and it kind of got brought up on, and I'm like, I want to talk about that in the video. Now, with me mentioning that it is Mental Health Awareness Month, this is kind of a pet peeve of mine. I want to throw it out there, and it may potentially offend someone, and I'm not really sorry if it does, because it needs to be said. And I'm not being a hypocrite here, because it pertains to myself as well. I suffer from a mental illness. I've shared this in other videos, okay? But I have this thing, it gripes me to no end when people use a mental illness diagnosis as an excuse for things like this. You cannot use a mental health diagnosis for being a shitty person. Okay? When you do something that is not acceptable, oh, but I have bipolar, oh, but I'm depressed, oh, but I have this. No, it does not work that way. And that irritates me to no end, because the people that do that make it look bad for everyone that has a mental health diagnosis. Some examples of this. I know a particular person, I'm not going to name names, relationships, nothing like that. There is a particular person that I know of that has a mental health diagnosis and will not do certain things or go around certain people because, oh, they're a trigger, that's a trigger, this is a trigger, this is a trigger. And I actually saw something not too long ago that I agree with 100%. Your triggers are not everyone else's responsibility. They're your responsibility. Okay? If you know that you have a trigger, okay, yes, to an extent avoid it, but at the same time, you are still responsible for certain behaviors. You cannot just be nasty in a certain situation because it's a trigger. Okay? If it's genuinely something that triggers you, you'll just avoid it and like adjust your life to work around it. But if that's just an excuse to be nasty to somebody or just avoid a situation because you just don't feel like doing it, stop using your mental illness as an excuse for you just being a shitty person. Period. There are so many people that will do messed up things, and I'm telling you, saying this, I'm trying to be nice with my mouth because I can have a potty mouth. There are some people that will do really messed up things, and when they are confronted, oh, well, you know I have this, you know I have that. No, stop doing that. Mental illness is not an excuse for doing unacceptable behaviors. Sorry, not sorry. I have a diagnosed mental illness, and when I do some messed up stuff, that is not because of my mental illness. That's because of me doing messed up stuff that I need to later go back and address or apologize for. So the people out there that are getting offended because I'm saying this, take a look at that. Stop using a mental health diagnosis as an excuse for doing unacceptable behaviors that you're not willing to take responsibility for. That's all I have to say about that. And I'm sorry if it offended somebody, but it needs to be said. So going back to what I was talking about before, but I didn't want to leave that out because it's a pet peeve of mine and it needs to be addressed, and some people need to hear that. So back to what I was talking about. I was talking about standing up and advocating for yourself. Another thing about you owning yourself is some people out there cannot take a compliment. There are some people out there that will minimize anything nice that is said to or about them and will not take a compliment. And I want to tell you this right now. If somebody is paying you a compliment or they're saying something nice about you, and I feel like it's even more genuine if it is said behind your back, something nice, not something bad. Something's bad being said about you, it's probably because somebody doesn't want to confront you straight on. But if somebody's paying you a compliment or saying something nice about you, chances are, probably 98-99% of the time, at least, it's genuine. Because I know very few people that will go out of their way to compliment somebody if they don't mean it. So for those of you, myself included, that cannot take a compliment, cut it out. Take the compliment because it's probably very, very genuine. Stop thinking that you're not worth a compliment. And if you have a hard time taking a compliment, just say thank you and leave it at that. But stop minimizing that. People usually aren't going to take the time and energy to compliment you if they don't mean it. So take advantage of it, bask in it, pat yourself on the back, appreciate it, whatever you choose to do. But stop refusing to take a compliment. So, like I said, I'm going to wrap this up because it's way longer than I want it to be. But I just want to throw a few things out there. I want to encourage you all to believe that you have worth and value no matter what you think. I know it's very hard, especially for anyone who's going through a tough time or suffers from depression, but even on your worst days, always remember you have worth and you have value. Some days it may be harder to find that, but it definitely is there. And if you can't find it yourself, ask somebody that you trust or reach out to the person that sees it when you can't. Surround yourself with those people. Okay, and you know, with that being said, everybody's special in their own way. I already touched on this. Just because you don't have a talent that you wish you had or someone else has does not mean that you don't have a talent, that you don't have a strength, an ability. If you can't find it, ask somebody that cares about you. Bet you they'll find it even if you can't. And I think we should all celebrate our individuality and our strengths. Be proud of that. Share it if you can. But stop minimizing the things you're good at or the strengths you have. If everyone else out there is acknowledging it, take the time to acknowledge it yourself. Okay? And I already touched on about, like, if we have a talent or ability, about sharing that with other people. I also believe part of our responsibility is not only sharing our abilities and talents and knowledge, but empowering other people at the same time. And like I just said, if you can't see a strength or a talent that you have and surrounding yourself with other people that see that when you can't, the flip side of that coin is for us to empower other people and encourage them and to remind them. I have a friend that means the world to me. And when you know somebody long enough, you know when they're not themselves or they're going through something. And that's our responsibility as a friend, a family member, a human being. Remind those person of their strengths. Remind them why they're special to you. things like that. This particular friend, I tell her all the time how proud I am of her, and she's like, oh, stop. I'm like, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to tell you all the time. I have seen so much personal growth in you, and I have seen you accomplish so much, and I've seen you persevere when the odds were stacked against you, and every time I see you, I'm going to tell you I'm proud of you, because you need to hear it, and I am proud of you. You know, so part of the thing with about, you know, maybe struggling to see our strengths in ourselves, there's probably other people out there that are in the same boat and having a hard time to find what's special about them. So remind them. Maybe they don't have it within them to see that. It's our job to remind them of that, and then empower other people. If you know somebody that has a talent that they don't explore, or has something that they want to try, be the person to encourage that. You know, I'll just go back to the example just because it's the easiest thing that comes to mind. Maybe it's somebody that enjoyed arts, you know, painting and drawing and stuff, but they haven't done it for so many years because they doubt themselves. Be the person that goes to the craft store or the art store and buys a canvas and paint and charcoal pencils and gifts it to them. Because more than likely, if they know you took the time to go buy this stuff and gift it to them, they'll be more inclined to use it than if they went and bought it themselves. So I think our job, and I'm just going to say from women's point of view because I am female, I think that as a woman we need to empower other women. Enough of that doesn't go on. I think too many women are so inclined to become the top dog that they'd rather step on the next one to get ahead for themselves, and that's not how it should be. We should empower each other and strengthen each other. And there's that saying that queens straighten the other queen's crown without telling the world it was crooked. We need more of that. We need women to be more friendly to each other and to empower each other and applaud for each other. So and there's another saying that I really, really like that says, empowered women empower women. Okay, so like I said, this has already gotten super long, so I'm going to shut up because half of you or more have already tuned out. But I just like I said, I just wanted to do a little video on owning yourself. Like I said, the more negative is being responsible for our negative behaviors and making amends and working on correcting it. But at the same time, take the time to explore your strengths and interests, and recognize your value and your talents, and take the time to share that with other people and teach somebody that has an interest that you may be able to encourage or share what you know. And you know, it's just, I wanted to throw it out there. A lot of people struggle with their self-esteem and self-image and things like that. So hopefully the message has reached, you know, someone who might need to hear what I had to say today. Like I said, just my opinions, just my personal experiences, and just wanted to throw it out there because I know a lot of people struggle with that, and maybe it would just help hearing somebody remind you that you're special and you're important, and to take the time to recognize that. And if you see someone else that's struggling, be the person that reminds them, and you know, be the one that straightens their crown. So until next time, bye everyone.